This is Riri Mokru, and you're watching Wrestling with Mental Health. I'm sitting here with the man of many names, but only one matters. It's Full Donovan,
How we doing, guys?
and he's gonna break it down for us.
A little bit of breakdancing, little
Uh,
break it down here. I don't know about that, but we'll definitely answer some questions.
yeah. Uh, what made you want to become a pro?
Well, man, I started watching wrestling on TV I was probably about 5 or 6 years old. And at the time, I wasn't really allowed to watch it. It was more like the Attitude Era, and, it was very, not kid friendly. You know what I mean? Um, Once I saw, the first thing I ever saw was a ring, and I was just kind of like, what is this? And I think I remember seeing like the Brood and seeing that entrance with the blood and like all that stuff. I was like really intrigued. And then once I saw Jeff Hardy, that was it. I was like, yes, this is what I want to do with my life. And watching like the tables, ladders, and chairs matches and ladder matches that Edge and Christian, the Hardys, Dudleys, all those guys had, um, it made me feel a certain way. And I always felt that I wanted to make people feel the way that made me feel, you know?
So where did you train?
So originally I trained in Ottawa, trained at a school called Body Slammers Pro Wrestling. And my trainer originally was Wayne Kreiderman. And he was a wrestler back in, probably, we'll say probably like 80s, early
So like
90s, like
Ron Hutchison type.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Al Snow had a school in Ohio that was Body Slammers Pro Wrestling School. That was Al's school, and Wayne trained there. And then through that, whenever Al would go on the road, Wayne would take over the school. And there's a few times like Al would bring Wayne to Japan and different things like that. But then whenever he would like pretty much be the head trainer at the school, he said, "Hey, I'd love to be able to take the school to Canada. Is that possible where I'm from, and be able to start something in Ottawa?" And that's what he did. Al gave him the blessing, and he started a school in Canada.
Nice. How long have you been pro?
So I debuted in 2015. So we're going on 10 years now. Going on a decade.
Wow. How did you go about creating your different gimmicks?
That's an interesting story, man. I would say that was always kind of the missing piece of myself as a pro wrestler. I was always in the gym. I was never the biggest guy, but I always had a decent body. I was always like technically sound in the ring,
That's true.
and always felt that the gimmick was the one thing that I was lacking. So I had a lot of different things. When I first started wrestling, I was wrestling under a mask. I had a gimmick called Mystify. And that was because I was refereeing at the time. So I wanted to do where I could ref and I could wrestle. And that was from my trainer. He thought that would be a good way for me to break in. And then after that, I did the Irish underdog thing. And I felt like, Irish was like in my blood. And it was something I love the music and I love, drinking and partying and, all that stuff. And then after that, I did a few other kinds of things. One gimmick that I had, the Dawn, right? That was given to me at the CNE by, oh my God, Rob Fuego, sorry. And Fuego had kind of, they needed something because I was a manager. And they're like, well, we need to call him something. This was Mike Clark. And, and he goes, well, just call him the Dawn, like Donovan, the Dawn. I love it, So they kind of together did that. And I was rolling with that for a bit. And I still will do it from time to time, in a fair show kind of thing or whatever. But I started really coming into my own as Full Donovan, which to me, they say the best gimmicks are just you turned up to 10.
It is.
And I feel
Exactly.
like that is me.
Yep.
We're just going Full Donovan, you know what I mean? And whatever that is, I'm still figuring it out as we go. But I think I'm starting to get a good grasp of it. It's starting to come. You know what I mean?
Last I saw Full Donovan at Demand Lucha, it was a good time.
Right on. Yeah, yeah. It was a lot of
It's
fun.
just you at 10. and it's basically you in sunglasses and like
Mhm.
flashy jackets, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just going for it.
you're doing well. I
It's almost
enjoy it.
like it's like a college vibe kind of.
Yeah,
I want to come up with like the red solo
like
cups
Stifler.
and yes, exactly. Like
Stifler's here.
almost like Stifler as a wrestling character.
Yeah,
Because I mean, I enjoy like hitting on chicks and whatever, and just kind of that party vibe and whatever, and like drinking red solo cups and just all that stuff. So I feel like all rolled into one.
right. What inspired your signature or finishing moves?
Well, originally, signature was the Swanton, and that was Jeff Hardy. Like I said, man, when I was watching those matches, like the way he would do that Swanton, I just fell in love with it. The way he would like swan out, and I just thought it was the coolest looking thing. And for whatever reason, Jeff Hardy just spoke to me. I loved everything about him. He had a certain charisma that like nobody else had. And so anyway, like that would be number one. Would have been that. And well, I really love Randy Orton. And I started just doing the cutter, like, I don't know, just, I mean, a lot of people do it, but I just was doing it, and, was just using it as a finish and stuff. And I'd done a few different things as a finish. I'm trying to think what else. But a lot of times, depending on who I'm wrestling, like, it's something I can hit on anybody. You know what I mean? And a lot of times I am wrestling guys that are bigger than me. So it just fit. And then I loved Will Ospreay, and he would do like the Os cutter, the springboard cutter, and I was just like, okay, well let me see if I can do that, and at least that adds a little bit of a flair to what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, again, people are doing it a lot, so you can maybe change it into something, maybe a springboard stunner or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, those would be kind of sort of the genesis of those signature moves and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are some favorite matches so far you've had?
Um, Well, I loved wrestling Speedball Mike Bailey. That was probably one of my favorite matches that I had. Like this was a while ago, and I wish that I would have been able to wrestle. I wish I could wrestle him more like now that I'm a little older, a little better, more seasoned. But that was like the first time that I really felt like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. You know what I mean? I liked the match. He liked the match. He seemed to be happy with it. I got to wrestle like Evil Uno. We had a really good match. And I just recently, last year, I wrestled Casey Navarro at Destiny. And again, that was one of those things where it felt like, okay, he's from TNA
Uh,
and he's got a certain level and a certain style and a certain caliber. And I felt like I was able to keep up to that. And, there wasn't really any, botches and dips and things like that. So it felt like it flowed well, and he seemed to be happy with it again after. So that was definitely up there. You've had Clash on. I've had a
yeah.
a bunch of matches with him that have been really good. Um, Trying to think. There's been a lot. There's been a lot. And sometimes when you go back in the Rolodex and you're trying to just think,
Oh, I
oh
know.
man, yeah, I remember this one. I remember this one.
You
And
have so many matches. I know
well,
it's hard.
I wish, and I kick myself now because I haven't done it, but it's like I wish I wrote everything down. I
Mm-hmm.
look at somebody like Jericho, and he was saying that like he wrote every one of his matches down, and it's crazy to think because he's probably had like I don't know, fuck, like thousands of matches, right?
Yeah,
Like so. But my best one's yet to come. There's still more in the tank.
that's good. Uh, what are some of your favorite indie wrestlers you've gotten to work with?
Well, Evil Uno, Speedball. I guess now they're signed. Um, really loved working with Johnny DeLuca. Didn't get to work with them for very long. It was just a tag match, but I just felt like that chemistry was there.
He's so
That was a
good.
lot of yeah. He's so good. Yeah, and he's fun. I just like wrestling DeLuca. Um, I got to wrestle Fuerza a few years ago. That was fun. Von Vertigo a few years ago too. Again, I'd like to wrestle all these people again now. You
Yeah.
know, that would be really really awesome to be able to get in there with them. Um, yeah, people that I really enjoyed working with. I mean, there's not too many people that I've been like, ugh, I don't want to work with this person. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It might be a few, but you know, like for the most part, everybody I've worked with, I've enjoyed, and yeah.
that's good. Um, are there any you're looking forward to working with in the future?
Oh yeah, there's tons. You know, like when you think about like around here, and then there's also the entire scope of the Indies. You know what I mean? Like I would love to be traveling more to the States and stuff. I just got my passport, so look out for full Donovan coming to the States. But yeah, like there's a ton. Like I said, uh, trying to think who I haven't worked with around here. I'd like to have like a one-on-one with like London Lightning. I think that would be great. Me and him have had some tags and some four ways and stuff. Um, oh, another match that was really good too was me and Reverso. I really liked working with him,
He's so
and I'd
good.
like to work with him more. You can learn a lot with him.
Hmm.
You know, he was great. Um, I'm trying to think like who around here would like to work with. Like I've always wanted to work with like Josh Alexander and guys like that, you know, just to be able to learn, and I just want to get better,
Yeah,
right? So I just want to work people that are better than me that can help me and
help
just
you
be able to
learn.
just grow.
Yeah.
You know, like the day we stop learning is the day we should quit the business, right?
Hmm.
Because you can learn so much. You can pretty much learn something from everybody that you work with, good or bad, right? And you're only as good as your last match. So you just, you know, you always want to just keep up in the ante and just try to have a better one than you had last time,
I seem to remember you facing Sam Losco.
you know? Was that me? Or was that
I thought it was you in a tag.
or was that the Green Bastard?
It could have been the Green
I
Bastard.
think it was
Yeah,
the
it might
Green
have been.
Bastard. Oh, Green Bastard, hearts unknown. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. And that was one of those things too, like where I got asked to do it, and I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Wasn't Spenny
Um,
your partner?
no, Sam was my partner.
Sandwich partner.
Again,
Oh,
Spenny and Runyon.
oh man.
Yeah, James Runyon. And oh my God, this is so funny. So, like, I get asked to do the match, and I'm like, sure. And then like I'm gonna do it as Bubbles because that was what they wanted, right?
Hmm.
But then I started thinking in my head like, well, Bubbles wasn't the wrestler, but the Green Bastard was the wrestler. And I started like thinking about how I can make a costume and all that stuff. And I wanted some way where I could start off as Bubbles, but then end up as the Green Bastard, right? And I had bought a mask, and it was supposed to come on Amazon, and it was like supposed to be here like 2 days before, but it ended up getting lost, and it only was going to show up later. So I was like, oh shit, I don't have a mask. Can we swear on here?
Yeah.
Okay, fucking right. Um, so we anyway like it was gonna get lost or whatever. So I said, well, fuck it. But I did like the shirt of Bubbles, and I had the Green Bastard shirt underneath. And
Nice.
man, like when I ripped it off, like people were like, "Yeah, it's the Green Bastard!" Like they got it,
Yeah.
you know. And and this is so funny, is that after the match, because Spenny didn't want to lose, right? Like Spenny, and this was so funny because I mean, I guess we're pulling the curtain back here, but I mean, you can go on WWE or Netflix and watch Unreal. So, but like Spenny was like, my back's hurting. I don't want to lose. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be picked up. I don't want to be. And I'm like, okay, like cool, whatever, you know. Um, and so the whole time like they were gonna make it where Spenny thinks he's gonna win, but he's really gonna lose. Like they were gonna fuck him. You know what I mean? And so anyway, Sam and all that, like he's believing that he's gonna win, and then he goes and we do the whole match,
Yeah.
and I had like some spots to do with like Runyon and stuff. I didn't really mess with Spenny kind of thing, but they rolled him up at the end and they pinned him, and he was like, you know, like what the fuck's going on here and all this stuff. And then later, Kenny was there as well, and I was talking with Kenny after, and he was really cool, and he goes, "You guys should have told me that you guys were doing this. I had to come in and I had to beat Spenny up myself," and I was
Nice.
like, it was almost like you were on the show. Like, because every episode of Kenny versus Spenny, Spenny gets screwed over somehow
Yeah.
by Kenny. So I felt like we were like all in on this gag that Spenny was going to lose, and it was fantastic.
Everyone ribbed him.
Everybody ribbed him. Yeah, it was great. Like Sam's like, yeah, I know, yeah, you're gonna win, and and Spenny's like adamant about it, right? And then at the end, he gets fucking 1, 2, 3, and he's all pissed off and everything. And it was great. It was a lot of fun.
You were great in Kill Ricky as well.
Oh, thanks, man.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
that Ricky, I did the first one, and it was fun. It was like. Kill Tony, right?
Yeah.
As a comedian, for people that don't know, like Kill Ricky, it was a like basically where any wrestler could show up, and you basically get 1 minute in the ring to be able to go in and like entertain and kind of impress the judges, and there was different judges every time. Ricky was always there, Rex was there most of the time, the Shooting the Indies guy. And then like sometimes Josh, like one time Josh was
Yeah.
there, one time who else was there? Jody Threat, that was really fun. Excuse me, but it was really hard because you don't plan anything. And I remember I did the one as Slim Shitty, right? Like because I had my hair
Yeah.
bleached for Dark Side of the Ring. And it was funny because I said to my buddy, I think I said it to Clash, and I was like, dude, I look like Eminem. And he's like, yeah, the real Slim Shitty. And I was like, oh, we're rolling with that. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I hope they do another one. I would definitely do it.
Yeah, that was a good gimmick too.
That was funny. People are saying you got to bring back Slim Shitty.
So tell me about Dark Side of the Ring.
Dark Side of the Ring has been really, really fun. It's been really good. I've really enjoyed every part that I got to play on it. I originally I was casted as Buddy Roberts from the Freebirds, and I guess I looked like him. And it was funny. The casting director messages me, says, "We'd like you to play this part. We want to pay you X amount of dollars." And I'm thinking, this is fucking bullshit. Like I'd never heard of Dark Side, right? They want to bring me in. Like I'm just a kid, like in Toronto, and they want me to bring me to Toronto, and I'm in Cornwall, and and so I started looking into it, and I had a girlfriend at the time, and I was talking to her about it, and we were skeptical, right? Because there's a lot of scammers out there. But anyway, I got casted, and it was originally it was Tales from the Territories. Actually, it was the first thing I ever did. It was produced by The Rock, or The Rock's company. So that was really cool. Get to play Buddy Roberts. And one of the stories was that basically that we were in a car. We were all driving. Terry Gordy's driving, I think, and then Michael Hayes is there, and I'm there. So the Freebirds, right? And anyway, I piss in a bottle, and then I give it to Terry to throw out, but he goes, "Oh, there's still beer in here." And he gives her a chug, and he's like, "Ah," and he spits it out, and so they're pissed at me for this. And so they took my bag, and I left it with them to bring it to a show, and I took the airplane, I guess, like Crockett's, or not Crockett, but whose ever airplane it was there. So anyway, they had my bag. So they went and they found roadkill, and they put roadkill in the bag. And so when I get the bag at the show, everybody's like, "Oh fuck!" And I unzip it, and it's like boom, and there's like a scene of me like taking it out and being like, "Yeah, this is cool." And then as I'm walking to the ring, everybody's puking behind me and everything because I smell so bad. And they had like a guy with like an automatic puker, and they had like given the audience like oatmeal and stuff, right? They're
Oh,
like, "Here,
nice.
puke this, or here, chew this, and spit it out." And but the automatic puker guy was funny. He's got a hose like on the side of his face, and they're like, "All right, cue the puke," and it's like, and it's just like a projectile vomit. And then, yeah, I got to play Jeff Jarrett. That was really cool as well. That was probably my favorite one I think I did. Got to work with Rob Rage, God rest. He's up there now. And that was really fun. Got to kind of get to know him a little bit. He played Hogan, and we did the Bash at the Beach episode where
Nice.
Jarrett lays down for Hogan. So that was cool. Buddy Roberts a handful of times. And then I've been, like whatever they needed, like background for different things and stuff like that. So, but love the cast or the well, I like the cast, but like I love like everybody that works there. You know, the girls that do all like the seamstressing and all that stuff, and hair and makeup, and casting director and all that stuff. Everybody's really cool. It's like a family there, and I feel like they try to use the same people a lot because they get to know you and they like you and stuff, and just had really good experiences there.
So how was your time working with Sunday Night Main Event?
A Saturday Night's Main Event.
Saturday Night Main Event, my bad.
It was really really amazing experience. You know, I can't say enough good things about it. It was like a dream come true, man. You know, us as kids, you know, you always want to work for the WWE, and you know, Gabe Sapolsky is the one that, you know, is pretty much like helping wrestlers, you know, be able to get extra work and things like that. And he wants you to come to like his seminar to be able to see you and make sure that, you know, your sound in the ring and, you know, everything is good. So I did a couple of those, and I had the opportunity to do some extra work. That was my fourth time doing extra work. So every time had been a great experience. This was the first time that I was actually used on air, like on TV.
Yep.
And it was just a surreal experience because, you know, you get told that first of all that you're doing something, so you're very excited about that, and just being there and being able to see how everything works and how everything is put together, and just, you know, being in that energy and being in that atmosphere. And again, that was just one of those times where I felt in my head and in my heart like this is where you're supposed to be,
Hmm.
you know. And it was great. Abyss, Chris Parks was the one that was in charge of the extras. And oh shit, sorry guys, here, let me turn that off. The So he was in charge of the extras, and being able to work with him was great. I did some extra work for TNA as well, and he was the guy there as well. Sorry, I'm just gonna turn this off.
That's okay.
People are there. We go, Donnie Important. So yeah, that was great. It was a really really amazing time. Something that you know, not everybody gets to do. I hope I have more opportunities with them, and it was just a really really great experience.
I hope so too for you.
Thanks, man.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
that. Yeah,
How was your time working in Mexico?
it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of craziness. You know, I had a friend, and he was a wrestler, and he was going to Mexico to meet one of his friends that's in a band. And there was a company that came down and they would do shows in Montreal, and they were like, hey, if you ever want to come to Mexico, let us know, we'd love to have you and stuff. And I said, okay, great. So when I talked to my friend, I said, hey, I've got connection, you know, we could go down, we could wrestle, all that stuff, and we made like a trip out of it. But it was surreal, like in the sense that like when you're in Mexico, man, like, and you're not even on a resort, like we were just, you know, in Monterey, living at this guy's house, and, you know, just taking in everything that Mexico has to offer essentially. And you can tell like you're not in Canada, you know what I mean? It's a whole different world. The wrestling was so much fun. The fans were so passionate, which was great. I didn't wear a mask. Most wrestlers they down there they wear a mask, and the lucha libre
Yeah.
culture, and how you know, respected and important that is to a luchador is the mask, right? It's their identity.
Yeah.
Um, but they didn't want me to because, well, they said that you have a great face for this, because like, you know, when you're like a white guy in Mexico, like you stand out like a
Yeah.
sore thumb,
Yeah.
right?
Like
So
gringo.
yeah, gringo. Yeah, they would they call me Guerrero Loco, so it was a crazy white boy. And it was just so funny. The one thing I remember was we had done this show, and the promoter was telling me that he wanted me to take tacos and throw them at the audience. And I was like, what? And I thought he was joking. He's kind of speaking like broken
That's
English,
weird
right?
heat.
It's just weird, right? So he goes and he's like, yeah, yeah. And he gets me this taco, like it's like the tortillas and they're warm. And he gives them and he says, I want you, you call them like puto and indios, which is like bitch and idiot and all this stuff. And I'm like, all right, like, let's fucking do it. And so I go out there and at first they're cheering me because it's like, oh, he looks good and whatever. And then I take the bag out and I'm like, puto, and I'm like throwing them, and now they're starting to like boo me and stuff, and I'm like, yeah. But then this one guy, he took like a glass bottle, and I had the tortillas, and he's about to throw this bottle, and I throw a taco at him, and I'm like, come on, putos, like you don't have the guts, essay. But I'm thinking in my head, like, if he throws this bottle, I'm going to get decked in the face with a glass bottle because I'm like this, right? I'm not even like covered. So I'm just thinking like, come on, puto. But I'm like, please don't throw this bottle right now. He didn't throw it and everybody
Oh,
was,
nice.
was super cool. And they kind of understood and they got it and they were laughing. And, so it was a really, really fun experience.
That's good.
Even just like, we would be in the mountains and we'd be cooking steaks and stuff and having like a grill out in the mountains and all that. We went to many bars and clubs and just the Latina women, they were fantastic. And just the whole culture, everything was really, really nice. We were really taken care of nicely while we were there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you have any future aspirations? Hopefully, TNA, WWE, New Japan.
Yeah, I would definitely love to be able to make my living as a pro wrestler and be able to work for a major company. As a kid, WWE's always been the goal, and it still is. Will we all make it there? No. Are we a failure if we don't? No. I used to think as a kid, oh, if I don't make it to WWE, I'm a failure, right? It's just like a kid that grows up and all he wants to do is hold the Stanley Cup, right? Um, TNA would be great. AEW would be great. New Japan, being able to just be on the indies and making enough money with like my shows and merch and all that. Like I'm just really just riding the wave, and I'm really trying to just think positively and just hope the universe kind of just you know guides me where I need to go. But to answer your question, I would love to be able to make a living, as a full-time professional wrestler, whether it be TNA, AEW. Japan would be cool. I would love to go there. I feel like that'd be a total culture shock.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd get used to it after a while. But yeah, anywhere I would definitely love to work.
I'd love to see you in Japan,
That'd be cool.
working All Japan or New Japan even.
I feel like style wise, I think I'd fit. I
Yeah.
feel like it'd be good. A lot of like technical suplexes,
Sounds like to go in strong style. So
that
yeah.
kind of stuff. Like when people ask me like, "What's your style?" I find like if you look at like UFC today, right? Back in the day when UFC started,
Yeah.
you had styles. Like you had kickboxer, you had a wrestler, you had jiu-jitsu, and you could match like a kickboxer with a wrestler, and then they would get destroyed, like the wrestler,
Exactly.
because you get kicked in the face and
Yeah.
like all that stuff, right? But now it's much more like well-rounded, and
Mhm.
everybody kind of knows a little bit of each style.
Everybody
And
knows Jeet Kune Do.
yeah, exactly. So that's kind of where I am. Like I can high fly a little bit. I mean, can I do a 630? No, but I can do some stuff. Definitely like the swanton and
You
stuff.
can do
I
a
still
missile drop kick.
missile drop kick, shit
Yeah.
like that. So high flying, technical, a little bit of submission stuff. I can
Yeah.
brawl. I'd love to have the opportunity to have some more, matches, like whether it be like street fights or ladder matches, table matches, all kinds. I'd love to do all that stuff. So I think I'm well rounded.
You are. Yeah. Who else have you trained with? Have you trained with Ishikawa?
No, that was before my time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think he was at the school whenever. Maybe he was, and maybe he was just leaving. I think. So, like, I trained originally. I trained with Wayne in body slammers,
Yep.
right? That was number one. Then I continued my training in IWS
Mm-hmm.
in Montreal, which is the International Wrestling Syndicate. And guys like Kevin Steen and Sami Zayn, El Generico, they came out of that school, and they kind of put that school on the map, right? Guys like Sexy Eddie and like Green Phantom and stuff like that. So I trained there, and Shane Hawk was the head trainer, as well as Daddy Magic, who's in AEW. At the time, he was Big Magic on the Indies. So I trained with him. I trained with Speedball. So whenever Speedball would come down, whether it would be from Japan or Europe or wherever, he would come and do like trainings with us then. So trained with him. And I've done like a host of seminars. So, I got to train with Ace Steel,
Mm-hmm.
which was really, really cool. I mean, CM Punk's trainer, right? So that's big. And I got to do like just, a host of cool things, Roderick Strong seminars, Rhino seminar. Man, I'm trying to think what other seminars have I done. Pete Dunne seminar. That was really cool. So I got to train with a lot of people, and I've been fortunate in my career to be able to train with. I did a Joey Janela seminar, which was super fun. We were just, Janela's was awesome. We just fucking around in the ring, and just it was great. It was a lot of fun. Everything that I got to do was a lot of fun training wise. Every time I go somewhere, I have fun training. You know what I mean?
How has mental health impacted your career, and how do you
Oh,
battle it?
oh, man, it's a struggle, brother. um, so like I have ADD, and I have anxiety. So I take medication for anxiety, which helps with ADD.
Mm-hmm.
But especially like as a kid, like I was bouncing off the fucking walls, bro. Like, and then when I started trying to take ADHD medication, I just couldn't eat, and I hated that because I'm trying to get bigger for wrestling, and here I can't even fucking eat a meal, right? Um, but mental health, like wrestling, sometimes it's like, man, like we love it so much that like I wish I didn't love it as much as I do, because when things don't go your way or whatever, like it impacts your life so much because you love it so much. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? um and I've had we all have our ups and downs in our careers and all that, and I've had those down points, and in those down points, mental health is definitely something that I struggle with, trying to think positively, but you just kind of feel everything is just negative, and you feel like worried about everything, and I tend to overthink a lot of things, and I tend to I just want, like, oh, is this okay? Is this cool? Like, you're always kind of just wondering, and that can come off to people like annoying. I think a lot of my trials and tribulations, I guess you could say, especially in the business when I was first starting, is like people were like, oh, he's annoying. And I wasn't trying to be annoying. I was just anxiety ridden. And you're walking on eggshells, and you're like, fuck, like, I don't know what to say here, so I'm just gonna say something, probably talk way too much and piss somebody off because you're talking too much, and they're like, "You just shut up." Like, so those kinds of things definitely I struggle with, and I think I'm getting better with that as time goes on. To cope with it, I try to just think positively. Exercise, right? I try to be in the gym. I work. My shoot job is a personal trainer, right? So I train people. I train myself. So that helps a lot with mental health. Talking to people,
Yeah.
having a few people, not everybody, because not everybody has your best interest at heart,
Mm-hmm.
but those few people that you can really talk to and really open up to. Try not to keep everything inside,
Yeah.
you know. Those are kinds of things I definitely think people can help people a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well
Yeah.
said.
Thanks.
Welcome. So who are your top 5 legends of all time?
Wow. Like a Mount Rushmore?
I like a Mount Rushmore. Yeah.
This is funny. Somebody had asked me about this, and it's like I think there's like everybody's top, like their own personal favorites.
Yeah.
Or there's the Mount Rushmore. And the Mount Rushmore is like, even if he's not your favorite, he should still be on it.
Mhm.
Like my Mount Rushmore, I guess it's 4 guys.
5.
It's 5 guys. Okay, so it is 4. Right?
Yeah, it is 4.
Okay, so it's 4.
You top 5 and 5, yeah.
So
yeah. Okay.
So 4 guys. Like when you think, like it's got to be like, oh man, like it's crazy. Like maybe like Flair, Hogan, Austin, Cena.
Oh
like
shit. Okay.
You know what I mean? Because like Flair, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, even. You could say Bruno Sammartino because he had such a big impact on WWE's business back in the
Mhm.
in the 70s. But like Hogan, he took wrestling from little armories and really made it big mainstream with the crossover of MTV.
Yeah.
He was Vince's guy that he was like, oh, I see this guy and I'm going to fucking make my business around him because, he looks like a superstar, right? So you've got Flair, you've got Hogan, you've got Austin. When you think about people that have transcended the business, I don't think you can say anything else besides Austin because he took, that blue collar working almost like a Dusty Rhodes, but like everybody lived vicariously through him and he transcended WWE. And at that time, WWF, sorry, at the time was the biggest thing. I mean, the most money they've ever made, I think, is in the Attitude Era.
Mhm.
And Austin was front and center of that. And those 4 years that he was on top, probably like, we'll say 98, 99, 2000, by 2001. So those 4 years. You think that he's been in the business a long time. But those are those 4 years where he was on top, where their business was the best. And you just think about people that made money for the company. And it was, The Rock is here as well, but I think it's Stone Cold. And then my last one is the current John Cena, right? I mean, obviously now he's retired. But for those years, I mean, what we're talking like 23 years or something like that. I mean, what he started in, let's say what it was like 03 when he, or 02 or 03 with Kurt Angle, where he did like, ruthless aggression, and then ever since then, he was just on a trajectory, man. And he, again, was that guy that was the mainstream icon of WWE. Like everybody that you talk to is like, do you know anything about wrestling? Not really, but that's that thing that John Cena was part of, or oh, that's that thing that Hulk Hogan did, right?
Yeah.
That to me right there shows you your Mount Rushmore. Cena did so much for the company. He has the most Make-A-Wishes for out of anybody who's ever done that, which is incredible and just a testament to the guy that he is. And just listening to him is just inspiring.
Mhm.
Because they asked him, they said, like, what do you think about those wishes that you granted? And he said, honestly, I don't think anything of the achievement, because anybody in my position should be wanting to do that. That shouldn't even be something that you think about. It's like, oh yes, I'm going to do that. Right. So transcended the business. We got Flair, Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and John Cena.
I'd go Inoki, Andre the Giant. I'd go Bruno Sammartino, and like last I go for like Vern Gagne.
Okay, so they're coming at it at a different angle. That's definitely more old school. Andre the Giant, that, man, I might have to change one. I might have to take Flair off there and maybe put Andre. Because, yeah, man, Andre, maybe I will. Maybe we'll take Flair off, put Andre on, because I agree with you. That is incredible. He transcended the business. I mean, he's the biggest thing to ever be in wrestling, right? So yeah, I agree with you.
And he had classical French training too, so he knew how to actually catch wrestle.
Exactly.
It's crazy to think he's 7 foot and he knows how to apply an armbar on you.
Well, and it's crazy because he had acromegalia, right? Which is something with your pituitary gland where you just continue to grow.
Mhm.
And he didn't want to have the surgery.
No.
He was like, fuck it. So, I mean, if he had the surgery, and again, this is like, back in the day, they maybe didn't have like the technology that they do now. Like the Big Show had it, but the Big Show had the surgery to take
Yeah.
to get it removed, right? Because Andre, he just kept growing and growing, and he would drink because he was in so much pain because he just kept growing in his back and all that stuff. And it's a sad, when you watch like the documentaries and stuff on Andre, like it's sad in a way, because
He's so good in the 70s that by the 90s,
he was on the
when it came, he
crutches
was on
and
the crutches. He couldn't holding onto the ring apron because he couldn't move around as good,
Mhm.
and his back was destroyed by then.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
he really needed the surgery by then.
yeah, and it's too bad, because he died in '93.
Yeah,
So it's like, had he had that surgery, imagine what it could have been when wrestling got a little bit more mainstream,
Yeah.
even after WrestleMania 3. And then, imagine if he was there in like the early '90s, even, and, like it would have been, or even just to have his mind,
hmm
not even have him as a wrestler, but a coach.
yeah,
There's so many things. It's like when people say, I think Chris Van Vliet asked, who's somebody that you wish was still around today? And everybody says Eddie Guerrero, because what a mind, right? Even if he couldn't wrestle at this
Yeah.
time or whatever, but just to be able to teach those kids at the Performance Center, to be able to teach anybody, right? Anybody could benefit from Eddie Guerrero,
Yeah. I'd say Tiger Mask too.
That'd be crazy.
The original Sataros. I am a.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
He's amazing, but he's got what the shaking disease.
Oh, like Parkinson's?
He's got Parkinson's too bad, and he's stuck in a wheelchair now.
Like Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So, what's your most embarrassing song on your playlist?
Like the one that comes to the top of my mind is like Shania Twain, like "Whose bed have your boots been under?"
Yeah.
Like something like that. But I'm a big Shania fan, so I used to. My aunt was a huge Shania fan, and she used to play it all the time, like in the car or at our house or at her house or whatever. And so I grew up on all those songs and all the Shania Twain stuff. I was a big country fan and stuff, right? So, but I'd probably say something like that. Yeah.
That's funny. I wouldn't expect that.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think? If you had to guess.
If I had to guess,
Spice Girls bullshit or something?
It would be something around there. You're around my age, anyways, aren't you? Or are you a bit younger?
I'm 32.
Yeah, you're a bit younger.
Okay.
Shit, I'm older than Ryan Donovan.
Cat's out of the bag.
No, I'm only 35.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would say like Linkin Park or.
God, but that's not anything. Embarrassing.
No, it's not embarrassing, but it's.
I do like Linkin Park, I'm
trying to think of what was popular back then.
Well, I was a huge Limp Bizkit fan.
Yeah.
It was so. I'll tell you a funny story. Just a funny story here. So again, I wasn't able to watch wrestling as a kid because they said "suck it." And so my mom, I was at a store one time, and my mom goes, she's shopping, and there's a woman behind us, and we're in line, and she gets like a wrestling magazine, or sorry, I got a wrestling magazine, and she goes, "Oh, my son loves wrestling," and I said, "Yeah, me too." I said, "Suck it." And my mom turned around, and she's like, "Ryan, where did you hear that?" And I was like, and she's like, "I'm so sorry, like I don't know where you heard that." And I go, "Well, it's wrestling. It's fucking DX." And so my mom sat down with me and like watched it, and she was like, "What the fuck?" She's like, "You're not watching this. You got X-Pac, Suck It, fucking all the women, fucking TNA, brawn panties." And I'm like, "No, Mom, go back.
Yeah.
It was a good spot there." And so it was just funny because like as a kid, I had to sneak it. My mom used to be asleep in her bed, and I have the TV on, like volume was like 1, and I'd just be like listening, and I'd hear like Jared like, "Good God Almighty," and I'd hear my mom like coughing or something. I'd turn it off, so I'd go back in bed, and I'd be like this. I'd be like just waiting. I'd be like, "Okay, I think the coast is clear," and I go put it back on, like watch it. I used to be like terrified of the Undertaker and stuff, He was scary as fuck. It was the Ministry Taker too, 1999, like and doing all like the talking in tongues and stuff.
All the druids coming out.
All that, yeah. I mean, when you're a kid and he's like, blah, 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 and you're like, what in the fuck?
Yeah. I'd be losing my mind too, because it was kind of not banned in my place, but weren't supposed to watch it
Okay, yeah.
because it was adult. It was more adult.
And
ECW was still around then.
Oh,
that was considered real.
You watched ECW back in the day?
Yeah, but I wasn't allowed to.
Mm.
So
that's cool though, man. Like I got the pay-per-view one night stand and I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then the second one that I got was the Rob Van Dam and Cena in 2006. And that was ECW was like my favorite.
My first show I went to was a WWE show. It was at the Civic.
Yeah.
Test was on the card. That's
Nice.
how I remember Edge and Christian and Test, all the Whitby boys.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. They used to come to Cornwall and stuff too. Like they used to come to all the small towns, you know. Now they'll just do Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto,
yeah.
And then out west, I guess maybe Calgary and Edmonton.
That's right.
Those are the
big money towns.
Yeah, exactly. But you used to be able to go and see like WWF show, and I remember I had like Rikishi, Edge, Christian was there, Big Show, I think. Test, I'm sure, Trish Stratus, maybe something like that. I wish they would still come. It'd be cool.
So, what are some of your up and coming matches?
So I've been working a lot with Super Kicked. So that's I got Super Kicked coming up. That one's going to be in February. I've got Demand Lucha coming up. That'll be like in Mayish. We've got PCW, which is in Gatineau. They're an upcoming company. They've been out for maybe this is I think their second year. A lot of really good fun up there. Super Kick, Demand, PCW. There's another couple in Montreal that I'm doing. I want to try to get out to the States as much as possible. And then around here, trying to get to Top Tier. Top Tier would be fun. Maybe a little bit of there was this one, the Hybrid Championship Wrestling, I think it's called. That one looked cool. And then of course, like in the summer, there's a whole bunch of stuff, right? Like this is that downtime where there's not as much going on because of the weather and stuff. But in the summer, we're going to be rocking and rolling and, full Donovan everywhere we go.
Right on.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I can't wait to support.
Let's go. We're gonna get some t-shirts out there. You can follow me, Full Donovan. So it's like on Instagram, at Full Donovan or Full_Donovan, sorry, DONAVON. Facebook, if you guys still do that. And just look for me at shows. I'm a friendly guy. I'll come and say hi and come see me at the merch table and help support Full Donovan going forward. Yeah. So thank you guys.
Well, thanks so much for your time, Ryan.
Yeah, man.
This has been fun.
Been great talking to you, buddy. Yeah. Right on.
Hey, this is PWE superstar Cody Diener, the king of the schwa. You're listening to Wrestling with Mental Health. I want you to know it's important to take care of your mental health, but it's also important to support professional wrestling, independent professional wrestling, like Pro Wrestling Clips, like my buddy here has. So hey, keep listening, keep taking care of yourself, and keep loving professional wrestling.